Hello, fourth grade scientists. It's Miss Bruin in the virtual lab. And now that you are an expert on various kinds of energy sources, it is time to share your findings with the community. We are embarking on a team project, and you don't need a crystal ball to see whether you're going to do really well on this project. So today in this video, I will be talking about how to use the rubric to help plan for and build your cost benefit analysis. Are you ready? So you've been spending the last couple of weeks, more than the last couple of weeks, like almost the last 2 months, digging in to understand how we use different sources to power our world, to give us electricity. And you've been looking at some of the new technologies as well as some of the old technologies, those fossil fuels. And in this project, what you are going to do is you're going to choose one of the newer alternative sources of energy. And you are going to present a case that shows the community why you think this energy resource is the best for your community. Scientists, once you've chosen an energy plan and you know which kind of energy would be best for your community, it's going to be up to you to show them why and show them all of the benefits and the risks or the costs that come with this new kind of energy. Because it's going to be up to you to convince them that this is what we should be transitioning to for the future. We can't keep using fossil fuels. So in order to best do that, let's take a look at the rubric. You're going to be judged in a couple of different categories. The first part of the rubric judges you on the general content of your project or your presentation. And so in order to become an expert, you want to make sure that you include all of the important details that are associated with humans using these natural resources or whatever specific natural resource you chose for your community. So in order to do that, you're going to need to describe and introduce them to all of the positives or the benefits that come with transitioning to these new kinds of natural resources for our energy sources. You're also going to have to describe the cost, which is the impact on people and the environment as well. You're going to have to use quotes, facts, statistics, right? All of those important details that let your audience know how great this new plan is, but also some of the risks that are involved. Now, if you're missing some of those details, you would be judged as intermediate. And if you're missing the majority of details or most of the important details, you would be considered a beginner. But since you've been working really hard over the last few weeks, I wouldn't be worried about the beginner category because you have all of the information you need. You just have to make sure it makes its way into your presentation. The second category that you will be judged on is presentation behavior. So this is kind of like how you connect with your audience. Making sure to speak loudly, clearly, using formal language, making sure that you're not looking down, but that you're actually looking at your audience when you're speaking to them. And this part was always the trickiest for me. I was always extremely shy. So this would be something I would have to practice ahead of time with my group. The third category that you are going to have to make sure you include in your presentation are your presentation aids, which is like visuals. I think of that as visuals. So what kinds of media aids will you use as you're planning and creating a slideshow or creating your booklet, what kinds of pictures, which diagrams, which graphs. Maybe there's even some short video clips that might be powerful. Maybe there are some GIFs that might be powerful to use during your presentation that add to the information that you're giving to your audience. You do not want to be caught out with one of those presentations that has nothing for your audience to look at except writing. Those are always some of the most boring ones. So make sure that you use all of those resources. There are incredible links that you've gone to in this unit that have really incredible data, graphs, diagrams, pictures that you can use for your presentation. And the last two categories are about answering questions and teamwork. So this has to do with your audience, which will have a chance, your audience will have a chance to ask you questions. So in order to be a real expert and show that you're a real expert on the topic, you have to make sure that you try to answer all of the audience questions very clearly and completely. It's going to be obvious that you maybe didn't do enough research, or maybe you're unsure about a couple of things. And sometimes that's okay, but you want to know as much as you can about the topic and about the resources that you're pushing for us to transition to in terms of an energy plan that you put together. And the last thing is teamwork. So this is really not about the content in your project. You could have this amazing content with amazing information and visuals, but the other huge piece of this is making sure that all of your team members get to participate and have a voice in the process. So in your presentation, it should be evident that you work well with your team and you're able to resolve conflict in a positive way, and that all of your team members have contributed to the final project in some way, and they've all been part of the process in some way. If you are one of those teams that was fighting all the time, right, that's probably going to be evident in the final project. So make sure that everybody is doing their job. And one way to do that is to nominate a facilitator, maybe even a backup facilitator, and come up with some democratic ways to resolve conflict. Because when there's group work, there's always going to be fighting, but you're going to want to figure out how to resolve the arguments and the differences in opinion in a positive way so that you can use all of those opinions and somehow compromise or meld them together. I mean, most of the time, the most powerful ideas and projects come out of differing opinions, which is why we do group work. And I can't wait to see all of your energy plans in action. So make sure that you're using each part of the rubric to help you plan for different parts of your presentation. Put the facts and the media aids together. Assign roles so that everybody on your team makes sure to play a part in the presentation. And who knows, maybe your ideas about where we need to shift our energy resources might be the one that the world chooses one day. I can't wait to see what you come up with.